If you know anything about me, you will know that I'm pretty much constantly in the process of getting my entire life together. And considering I'm in my early 20s, I feel like that's pretty understandable. If you add that to the fact that I like to dump myself in the middle of very difficult situations, such as moving across the world by myself, I need all the help that I can get, basically. So I thought that I'd make a video and share with you guys the tools that I use to get my life together, to be productive, and to keep things on track. First of all, I'm going to start with the physical things that I can actually show you. And the first one is a book, but it represents an entire genre of books, and that is self-help literature. And I don't mean that in the traditional sense of like, oh, I'm really sad, will this book make me feel better? No, like I want success books written by successful people that actually explain how you can kind of train your mind, change your thinking, change your actions to make your life better. I like psychological self-help books geared towards being successful and productive. The one that I would recommend to you most wholeheartedly is The Rules of Life by Richard Templar. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this in a favorites video before, and it's literally just a bunch of rules for you to follow to live your most successful life. I really enjoyed it. The next physical object that I'm going to show you is my planner. This is my planner. It's from Kiki K. It's very beautiful and I love it with all of my heart. Now, the planner serves many purposes. First of all, most obviously, it's a planner. So it's got a calendar, it's got a day planner, and I can plan my life with it, obviously. The main function of this planner is essentially to keep everything in one place because it's got my calendar, but it also has sections for different kinds of notes. And so in here, I've got a section for meetings, which I mainly use when Fiona and I have meetings. I've got a to-do section, I have inspiration, blog, YouTube, and planning, and I can keep everything in one place. And I feel like that's really important because before I moved, I had so many different notebooks. And what I did is I went through all of them, I took out the pages that were important, that had things written down that I wanted to keep, and I consolidated all of the notebooks basically into my planner. The thing that I love most about my planner, however, is the fact that I can decorate it. It is going to become so clear throughout this video that I'm a very visual person. So the fact that I can put in like dividers and little like quotes, we'll get to that. Oh boy, will we get to that. Just the fact that I can customize and decorate my planner makes it just really enjoyable to keep my life organized. And I feel like that's very important because if I just had like a normal calendar where I wrote in what I had to do every day, like I probably wouldn't care that much. Whereas with my planner, I'm like, shit yeah, let's sit down with some highlighters, let's get my like little hole puncher out and let's organize my entire life. So I feel like just finding a way to organize your life that makes you excited, that's great. It super duper is. Get a planner though, they're fantastic. If you know anything about me, you will be expecting this. It is an A3 visual diary. The way that my brain works, in order for me to get things out of it and onto paper, I need a big piece of paper and I need highlighters. So what I do is I just sit down with my A3 visual diary and I just put things down however they look in my head. So there'll be different sections. One time I planned my life by just drawing like a house and a hill and a river and a sun, and just like labeling different things. I know that I'm freaking nuts, but basically having an A3 visual diary ice cream trucks in this country really upset me. Like that is a horrifying sound. Long story short, the A3 visual diary gives you the convenience of a notebook and keeping things in one place with enough space to really get things done. So I would say definitely get an A3 visual diary, get yourself some highlighters, get yourself some good pens, and you're in business. This next one is a very, very new addition, but I thought I would show it anyway. And it, once again, goes together with me being a very visual person. It's just this notebook that I got from W.H. Smith. And basically what I do is I will go through magazines, and when I see like a picture or a quote or like just like a title or something that really speaks to me or that I just enjoy looking at on any level, I'll cut it out and then I'll kind of create collections on pages, if that makes sense. Like for instance, this is from when I've been editing my Italy vlogs, right? And so I've just got like a picture and like a little quote about traveling, then this sugar packet from Florence, and like a little photo of an Italian street. And so I've got those on the page, and that makes me feel more motivated to actually work on the project itself. I know that's a bit weird, but like I've got like notes that I wanted to make when I was editing my Milan video. I've got things that I needed to do to complete the videos, and I've got like little how I wanted to design the thumbnails. Like I just feel very motivated when the page looks nice to make the work nice to match that. So it's all about just knowing how your brain works, what motivates you, and working with that. And this is a new way that I've come up with to motivate myself to like really be invested in the things that I'm doing. The final thing that I can actually physically show you now is just, it's very different from the things I've shown you so far. And it's just this pile of like letters and cards and photos that people that I care about have given me. So these are all things that are significant to me. And I keep them on like my chest of drawers. And whenever I really feel like I'm at a loss as to like what I want to do next, or I'm just not feeling motivated, or I'm like lacking slightly in self-belief, all I have to do really is just go over and like read one of the cards or like look at one of the photos, and then I sort of remember that there are people who are invested in my life and who think I'm capable of things, and it just kind of like, in a way, it kind of reminds me who I am. That sounds really weird, but like sometimes it's sort of easy to lose sight of what you're doing when you're really stressed out or when you're really confused about things. And I find going through these just really grounding and very helpful. I honestly think just like read letters that your friends have given you, or read cards that your grandparents have given you. Like it'll bring you sort of back into yourself. And then from there, it's easier to figure out what your next move is going to be. Going back slightly to something that I mentioned in the planner section, quotes. I don't know when I became a motivational quote person, but I am such a quote person now that it is ridiculous. I love them so much and they work so well for me. So what I would say is, if you're like me in the past and you think that motivational quotes are really cringe, stop fighting it. Every now and then you will come across a quote that really resonates with you. And when you find a quote that resonates with you for whatever reason, save that and use that. Quotes. They're not as lame as you think they are. Another physical, tangible thing that I use is charts. I love charts. I love graphs. I love any visual way to tangibly track your progress and achievements. Like, I'm so into it. There's one kind of chart that I invented. I refer to it as the Sims chart. I'll make an entire video on that if you want, because I just can't explain it in a short amount of time. This is a chart that I created. I told Fiona about it and she was like, you are batshit insane. And she lives with me. So her standards for what's crazy are like much higher than normal people. So if you want me to do an entire video on the Sims chart, let me know and I will show you how to make your own. But basically, it's just a chart where over the period of like 2 weeks, you chart how well you're doing in every area of your life that you want to, and then you can literally look at it and see where you need to improve. It is fantastic. I'm a genius. I kind of want to like patent it before I show anyone, but like if you want me to make a video about that, I will. It's great. Speaking of concerning, vision boards. Vision boards, inspiration boards, motivation boards, so important. I will make an entire video once again just on those at some point, and I will be going into them a little bit in my moon cult video. I'm talking about the kind of vision board that I tend to make, which is more of a motivation / inspiration board. I've written a couple of blog posts about mine, so I will link those down below and that'll sort of make a little bit more sense. But basically, just get any photos or quotes or anything that you feel like motivated by when you look at it. It doesn't have to make sense, but it's all about just being able to recognize when something makes you feel motivated or makes you feel inspired, and just take that photo, take that quote, put it on a board, and then when you look at it, you just want to get shit done. Another one of my tools is obviously the moon cult, but as we all know, there will be a separate video coming on that. Something that I find very, very helpful when I need to sort of center myself or clear my mind, or especially if I'm finding it really hard to focus, is meditation. And I use the Headspace app. It's great, but there are a lot of different ways that you can meditate. I usually just do it for about 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes. And then it is like my mind is completely clear and I can focus so much more easily than I could before. And I also think that it's quite important just like mentally in general. It works better on some days than it does on others for me, but it's something that I'm always much better off mentally for doing afterwards. So I would recommend that. 100%. Okay, another thing that I've written down is certain people, videos, and blogs. And I feel like everybody will know what I mean by this, but there are certain people or certain blogs, certain people who make videos that I feel very motivated by, whether it's because I aspire to have like certain aspects of their life, or whether it's just their attitude, or if they give really good advice. There are just certain people who, when I read their blogs, when I watch their videos, or even just when I like see a photo of them living their life really well, I feel really motivated and I feel very inspired. And I think those people are different for everybody, but I will leave links to a few of mine down below. Swedish bloggers, I swear to God, they just know. I'm not even gonna go into this. One time I couldn't find a download link for Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, and I was like, I bet the Swedish bloggers have a download link for Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. They just have it all. As a very visual person and a human being, my environment is very, very important. Right now, my room is pretty messy, and so it's stressing me out, and I'm not really getting that much done. But I know as soon as I clean it, I'm gonna feel 1,000 times better. Similarly, things like having plants in my room make me feel more productive. Opening my window makes me feel more productive. Like, just having an environment that makes you feel inspired, makes you feel capable of like creating the things that you want to in that environment is very, very important. So honestly, just clean your room. Clean your room and buy a cactus. You can take that advice to the bank. As important as it is to have people outside your life who inspire you and motivate you, it's also very important to surround yourself with people who, first of all, want the best for you, and second of all, keep you motivated and don't let you become complacent. I feel a lot of the time people tend to move in a similar trajectory to the people they surround themselves with, which means if you hang out with a bunch of people who aren't doing anything with their lives and don't really care, you're probably not going to feel as motivated to do things with your life as you would if you were hanging out with people who are always trying to like get to the next level and do really well in the things they care about. So surround yourself with people who are very good at the things they do, who really care about the things they do, and who are also going to motivate you to want to do your best, but also like not in a competitive way. Surround yourself with people who, first of all, are going to make you feel inspired to do things with your life, and also people who are going to support you when you actually try and do those things. So yeah, just be smart with the people you surround yourself with, and don't become complacent just because you feel like other people are. While we're talking about the people you surround yourself with, actively use them. That is a very bad start to this sentence, but bear with. Take advantage, in the good way, of the people you have around you, because people you have around you see you from a different perspective than you see yourself. So they might have ideas that you hadn't even thought of how you can improve your life. Surround yourself with good people and take advantage of that. Tying in with not becoming complacent, self-awareness and self-evaluation are two of the most important tools that you can have. Being self-aware means, first of all, you're aware of all the good things about yourself, but also you can kind of admit when you're not doing enough in one area or when something really isn't working. And self-evaluation and re-evaluation is important, because I might set off to do one thing and then like a couple months down the track it's not really working, so I need to reevaluate that. Don't be afraid to sort of change course if something isn't working, because that's the only way you're ever going to evolve, isn't it? Yeah. Oh my god, lists. Jesus Christ, lists. I can't believe this was not the first thing that I said, but lists. I make so many freaking lists. That word does not sound real to me anymore. They are so helpful. You can make lists of lists that you need to make. You could, oh my god, I just love lists. They're so helpful. They really are. Like, whether they're checklists or they're like not checklists, there's a bunch of different kinds of lists. Just make lists. Oh my god, I love them. Honestly, sometimes one of the best things you can do when you're feeling overwhelmed is literally just making a list of the things that are on your brain. Like, oh, good god, lists are fantastic. Just make as many lists as you can and keep track of them using another list. I also use a lot of music, but that's very personal, and songs that make me feel capable and motivated and inspired may be different than yours, but music is a very, very, very good one to use. One of the things that I do every now and then, which I have already mentioned, is that Fiona, who's my housemate, if you somehow didn't know, and I will like specifically have meetings. Like, we'll be like, oh, let's have a house meeting today, or like, let's have a business meeting today. Having a time to sit down and specifically figure things out with another person is really, really helpful. This is my last point, and it is one of the most important ones, and it is just knowing when to stop, like when to take a break, whether that means when to like go away on a trip somewhere for a bit, or literally just to go outside. When I get back, or I wake up, or I come back inside, I'm just working at a level that I wouldn't have been able to get to if I hadn't taken that break. So just knowing when you need to stop, and knowing whether you need to go outside or go to Italy, just being able to tell the difference. That's important. If I think of anything else, I will mention it somehow. If you want any specific videos about anything I've mentioned, like my planner or my crazy person Sims achievement chart, let me know and I will make those. And also, if you have any tools for getting your life together or keeping yourself on track and motivated that I haven't mentioned, please let me know. Because God knows, I need all the help that I can get.